Why, you guys, Tim Scott destroys Dana Bash on her own show. You have to check this out.
Here with me to talk about that and much more is a big Trump supporter, Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Thank you so much for being here, sir. You have been out on the campaign trail. I know that
Good morning,
you have
Dana.
been, good morning, talking to and voting, campaigning for not only Donald Trump, but Republican candidates for Senate. You're trying to turn out black and low propensity voters, among others. The polls we've seen in the last 24 hours show evidence that late deciders are breaking for Kamala Harris.
Guys, I'm gonna be real with you. My eyes kind of water a little bit because we're hours and hours away from knowing if we're going to live through 2025 or if it's going to be 1776 again. Because Americans are tired of what's been going on. They're tired of being screwed. They're tired of just being ran over. Just tired of being roadkill. Guys, I know you're tired. I'm tired. So we're gonna see this, man, and it's today's gonna be very emotional. Like I said, let's keep going, guys, because you really have to see what he does to her in this video.
Do you think that Trump's rhetoric in these closing days is hurting him with those voters?
Well, I'll just tell you that the voters I sat down with in Detroit, Michigan on Tuesday, Ohio on Wednesday, and Philly on Thursday, African Americans, Hispanics, Jewish voters, all seem to have momentum behind Donald Trump. It's going to be a very, very good day for Donald Trump on Tuesday. And frankly, McCormick will win Pennsylvania. Without question, Bernie Moreno will win Ohio. And I'm really confident that Mike Rogers will win Michigan as well. And the reason why is that the voters are listening to our closing arguments on the border. They're listening to it on crime. They're really excited about school choice. We did a school choice event in Philly, Dana. We had a very strong cross section of the voters from Philadelphia showing up to talk about the really important issue of making sure that their kids have a better chance for success by giving the parents choice in education. So the issues that we are focusing on in these last 48 hours are the issues that the voters say are top of their mind.
I want to get to a little bit more of that in 1 second, but I do want to just quickly jump ahead to Election Day and what happens after Election Day, because one of Donald Trump's allies, Steve Bannon, who was released from prison this week, told the New York Times that Trump should simply declare victory on election night, regardless of the results. Here's what he said. He should stand up and say, hey, I've won this. And we have teams right now that are going to make sure that this thing is not going to be stolen. That was his advice to Trump 4 years ago. That's what Trump did 4 years ago. It led directly to January 6th.
And here we go talking about this January 6th thing again. Why are we still talking about this? Why are we still going about this? Guys, I'll tell you this. With all these outlets, Mark Twain said it best. With all these news outlets, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they're being fooled. And that's all I notice whenever I watch CNN, MSNBC, NBC. All they do is try to spread these lies, get you to go against Trump, and try to make that make sense to you. But I'm telling you guys, Americans are waking up, and that's why, hey, I don't want to be the bad guy, but 1776 will happen again, man, if they rig this up. Let's keep going.
Will you urge the former president not to prematurely declare victory again and allow the process to play out so the American people can trust the final legitimate outcome?
Dana, we're looking forward to a very good day on Tuesday night without any question. I'm excited to see that the battleground states that we've just talked about are all leaning towards Trump. So the good news is we will have a fair election and Donald Trump will be our next president. I look at the facts that in Wisconsin, when I was in Wisconsin just recently, the voters are heading in our direction. And the good news is 2 out of 3 voters want to vote in person in Wisconsin, even though they have mail-in ballots. You just showed a stat a few minutes ago where 400,000 votes swing towards Republicans in Pennsylvania. You take the number of Democrats not voting and the number of Republicans who have registered, and that's before you add on top of that the 300,000 Jewish voters who find themselves being polarized away from the Democrat Party. This is going to be a very good election, and we, the people, will make that decision.
I appreciate your optimism. That's your job on the eve of the election. But what I'm asking about is what if he doesn't win. And the fact of the matter is that Trump is already spreading false claims about cheating in Pennsylvania. He has repeatedly predicted a massive victory, even though polls show that the race is very close. He's setting the stage for his supporters not to believe the results if he loses. Do you want him to stop doing that?
I would never tell any candidate on the ballot to talk about what happens if they lose. Obviously, you're going to lean into the victory, especially
I
when the
appreciate that,
latest
Senator.
polls
Forgive
in
me, but
battleground.
Why don't we let him finish? Why are we just gonna immediately cut him off? Why don't we let him finish? Look at this.
On the ballot to talk about what happens if they lose. Obviously, you're going to lean into the victory, especially
I
when the
appreciate that,
latest
Senator.
polls
Forgive
in
me,
battleground
but
states
spreading
says
false
that you're
rumors.
running forward. You're running ahead of your candidate.
Totally, but
Listen,
saying false
Dana,
things
you and I
about
would disagree on this one.
fraud
Totally disagree on this
is
one.
not. You think it's okay to spread false rumors about fraud and undermine the integrity of the election, regardless of what happens?
How do you know? How do you know?
Dana, the liberal media has done a better job of spreading misinformation
come on,
than any
Senator.
candidate I've seen so far. That's true. Listen, here's the fact. We're not seeing the coverage of 2 assassination attempts on CNN
We
against
did
Donald Trump.
wall-to-wall
We're not seeing the
coverage.
comments about Kamala Harris talking about fascists, calling Donald Trump a fascist.
John Kelly
We
called
should
him a
focus on
fascist.
giving
His former
the
chief
American
of
people
staff.
the opportunity, giving, and she repeated it, giving people the
Well, wouldn't
opportunity
you?
to
If
make their own
Kamala
decisions.
Harris's former
That's
chief
what we
of staff
Americans-
called her a fascist, I would guess that you would repeat it too. And
Listen.
Donald Trump has called him one as well.
The bottom line is this, Dana. Bottom line is this. We should focus on the issues that the American people are talking about. They're talking about the greatest invasion across our southern border. Black communities across this country, particularly in inner cities, are talking about the devastation of the presence of Venezuelan gangs leading to more crime. We're talking about a rise in the unemployment rate of African Americans. Of course, black men are now more open to the Republican Party and specifically Donald Trump because the numbers are in. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they've done a terrible job addressing the issues
Senator.
of black men. Therefore, looking at the Donald Trump years, we saw low unemployment and high enthusiasm.
I want
Exactly.
to allow you to make your point, which I just did, but I can't let go of the fact
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you are saying it is the media spreading claims. It is not true. It is Donald Trump who is saying things
It is
that are
true.
Donald Trump is saying things just about Pennsylvania, just one example that local officials are saying is not true. We saw what happened on January 6th as a result of that and many other things. You were there at the Capitol. Are you saying right now, you want
I
to leave
was.
this conversation and say you are okay with his rhetoric?
Well, Dana, what I'm going to tell you is the truth. The Supreme Court and local courts in Pennsylvania have ruled in favor of the Trump campaign this election cycle.
But this has nothing
In
to do.
2020,
That has
the
nothing
Supreme
to do
Court
with
then
what he
made,
is
made
saying.
changes prospectively. You're asking the question about voter integrity, election integrity.
Right.
I'm giving you the answer. We've seen a strong shift in the right direction, and that's reasons for us to be optimistic that this election will be fair. I'm, of course, going to say my candidate's going to win because the polls reinforce that fact, and the evidence I'm seeing on the ground only highlights or magnifies the fact that Donald Trump is doing very well in the battleground states. We are not just optimistic, we are going to be motivated, which will allow us to mobilize our voters. This election will be decided by the turnout.
So if you believe, you just said that you believe that the election will be free and fair. So does that mean that you are confident
Yes.
that if Donald Trump loses, I know you think he's going to win, but let's just play this out. If he loses, that he will concede?
I'm confident that he's going to win without any question. And yes, I do believe that we will have a fair election. We will honor.
You see what she's trying to do, guys? This type of reporting right here, this is why we're done with this video. This type of reporting right here is simply trying to start something in the media. So then the next video will be Trump's old maybe vice president guy says he's going to concede and he's going to just start a war or something like that if he loses the election. That's what she's trying to do. She's basically trying to put the people around Trump, the people that are surrounding him, she's trying to shine a bad light on them. So you have no other choice but to think that Trump is a bad person. That's all they're doing, guys. That's what I've been trying to let you guys know. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Like I said, we have a few more hours so we find out who the president's going to be. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And as always, let me know what you react to. We're out.